Well, to start off this December, what we're going to talk about?
Ghoulies 3 and the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause. How about those?
No, how about Scrooged and Gremlins, but not in that order.
The Chris and Chris Show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Chris and Chris Show. I'm Chris with a Carol K and C.
And I'm Chris with a Karen Allen K.
Yes, it's the Carol and Karen Show this week.
Both Scrooged we went for, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking you're either going to go for Karen Allen or Kay Luke from Gremlins.
Yeah.
I was glad because I like the idea of the Carol and Karen Show. Yeah, this week starting off some Christmas-related movies for a change because it's probably the first time we'll always kind of book the trend and go, we're not doing fuck Christmas movies.
Yeah.
We'll do one.
We're doing snuff films.
Yeah, basically we did the cannibal fucking special instead. But no, we thought we'd actually do some Christmas movies this year, so we're going to do Gremlins and Scrooged.
Yes, two films that are probably fond to both of us, like our hearts and stuff, growing up as kids and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they were like the Christmas movies we watched as kids, growing up in the 80s and 90s and stuff. So yeah, nothing much to get to. Have you watched anything you hated this week, like the past couple of weeks?
Seems to be a trend of mine, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
No, I don't think I have, actually. I watched Kung Fu Hustle the other night that I told you about.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those films that, like, the CGI's aged horrifically, but it kind of works, like you said, for the tone of the movie.
Yeah,
I guess.
From what I remember, the CGI wasn't like top notch when it came out, but I think that kid adds to the charm of it, especially like the whole Looney Tunes chase bit and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to get a nice version of that. I watched it on I've only got it on DVD. So that's probably like one of the reasons it's like looks horrific on a big screen.
I think it's got a Blu-ray release, right? It should do.
I think so. Yeah, I think it got I think Savvy did a steelbook of it at some point as well.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, I'll have to watch that again. I haven't actually watched the full film for years. I just kind of like when I stumble across a clip online, I'll watch like the fight scenes and stuff. But I haven't seen the full movie from start to finish. It's probably since it came out, I guess, since I first got the DVD.
Yeah, it was a very creative movie and stuff, and kind of lampooned a lot of the typical stuff that happens in Kung Fu movies. Yeah, good film. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought I'll take a break from watching stuff that I hate.
Oh, well, that's good. I don't think I've watched anything since Hard Boiled. I think Hard Boiled and then Gremlins were like the only films I've watched. Yeah.
Damn it.
So yeah, do you want to get straight into Gremlins?
Let's fucking do this.
Gremlins from 1984 runs for 1 hour and 46 minutes, directed by one of our favourites, Mr. Joseph Dante. It stars Zach Galligan as Billy Peltzer, Phoebe Cates as Kate, Dick Miller as Mr. Futterman, Kay Luke as Grandfather, Polly Holliday as Mrs. Deagle, Corey Feldman as Pete, Hoyt Axton, I love that name, Hoyt Axton, what a name, what a manly name, as Randall Peltzer, Howie Mandel as the voice of Gizmo, Frank Welker as the voice of Stripe, which I knew that name, Frank Welker. Looked him up. He's literally done everything. It's insane. And last but not least, the Honourable Judge Reinhold as Gerald. On a budget of $11 million, the film grossed over $200 million worldwide, making it one of the biggest films of the year and the biggest hit of Joe Dante's career. But if the movie going public had any sense, The Bird should have made $250 million.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to leave it at that. So what's it about, though, sir?
Well, a hapless inventor, Mr. Peltzer, Hoyt, as we call him.
Hoyt.
He dives deep into the Chinese underground to get his son a gift. I'm not sure why you would do that, but there you go. And finds a unique gift in the form of a mogwai. It's a strange creature that comes with 3 very specific rules that must not be broken. However, very, very quickly, because Billy is just a young'un, he breaks the rules quite quickly, and the town descends into chaos and is overrun by rampaging gremlins.
Mm-hmm. It's essentially a very exaggerated metaphor for don't buy a kids a puppy for Christmas.
I mean, it seems like there's a lot of fucking rules. If I was Billy and like my dad came home and was like, "I've got you something, but firstly, it's a really specialist animal. There's a whole bunch of rules." I'd be, "Oh, Dad, I don't want it."
Dad, you've got us a fucking job for Christmas.
Take it back, fuck's sake. I feel like coming home with like some sort of like rare lizard and being like, "You've got to put it under a heat lamp for exactly 19 minutes every 3 hours,
or it'll die."
Like, I'll just be like, "No, I don't want it."
Speaking of which, though, because there's a lot of Gizmo and Gremlins merch now. Was there ever like a Gizmo toy in the 80s? Because I always fucking wanted one, but I was just, even as a kid, I was like, why aren't these a thing? Even after like,
not really,
like, because obviously it came out 84, so we were like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, even after the new batch came out, I don't remember there being like Gremlins merch.
No, not really.
Even though that was kind of a flop, that movie, but
there was definitely like some like rubber like Gremlins like made of something like UPVC or something. I remember there was a lad down the street had one, and they were like I don't know, like the size of they're like 10 inches or something from memory, and they look all right, but they didn't have any articulation or anything. They were just like rubber cast things.
I think maybe now and then on eBay years ago I did see like vintage Gizmo and it just looked terrifying.
Well, this is it. That was what I was going about to say. Like, I think even to like today, really, there hasn't been like a raft of Gizmo things because it's a very hard thing to pull off where it doesn't just look shit, basically. So, you can get Gizmos that have been made by various companies, but you're talking like £400, £500 if you want one that looks halfway decent.
Yeah, because really the only way you're going to have it to look really close to the movie is if it's like moving and it's animatronic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a very hard thing to do. The Gremlins, obviously, it's a lot easier. You just mold them out of plastic and rubber and stuff. But yeah, the Gizmo thing's like a whole different ballpark. I
think we've talked about this before, like when we used to love the Warner Brothers store in the Metro Centre because they had full-size Gremlins like on the walls and stuff.
Yeah,
I always wanted to fucking nick one.
Totally.
But you've got one now. You got the trick or treat one a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's something I always wanted as a kid, like a full-size Gremlin and stuff. So yeah.
Which one did you get? Did you get Spike or Stripe?
No, I just got like generic Gremlin.
Oh, just generic Gremlins.
Yeah, it was a toss-up between the two, really. But I just wanted to go for like just a standard Gremlin.
They're like puppets, aren't they? You can puppet.
Yeah. You put your hand up in the back and and move the mouth and stuff. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah.
They still sell them, don't they? Did they stop? Did they lose the license? Oh, okay. Because they did do a Gizmo, right, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's the last time I was like, oh, I'm so tempted because I've always wanted one.
Yeah, getting like theirs, it's not bad. It's something like 250, 300, but it has like an edge of goofiness about it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, they didn't quite get it.
Do you remember when they did, what were they called? The name's just gone up me. Furbies, when they did a Gizmo Furby. Like 15 years ago as well.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, aren't the Furbies credited as being, like, Mogwais were the inspiration from...
Most likely.
Sure. I think that's, like, officially, like, a recognised thing, basically.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise us. What with the design and the high-pitched voice and stuff like that. So where would you like to start with good old Gremlins?
I suppose the really nice scene at the start, really, in Chinatown. There's something about, like, the atmosphere of that scene. I love a good set like that. It's something that like was always in like Spielberg produced movies and stuff and that. I was
going to say Spielberg just had a thing for like, I want a Chinese boy in this movie with a baseball cap on.
Totally.
It was the year of that for Spielberg.
It was, basically. It was, it really was. The very atypical Chinese guy with a big beard and stuff and creepy glass eye or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a cool scene. I like it, and it's really well shot. And I love all the like neon signs that are lighting the road when he walks like down the road.
It is a really atmosphere. It's like kind of stands apart, doesn't it? Like you think, I'm assuming when people first saw this, like they thought they were in for a different kind of movie.
Yeah, massively.
It almost starts like a detective movie or something.
Yeah, well, with the film noir, like voiceover and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
From Hoyt, which apparently, I don't know how true it is, but Hoyt Axton apparently ad-libbed most of his dialogue for the movie.
Like not the voiceover, like general dialogue.
Yeah, apparently. Like, so I don't know whether some of the the start narration was done by him but like apparently just a lot of his stuff throughout the movie was kind of just done by him.
Yeah, because I had noted down like there's one bit in the film because I love the parents in the film, both Billy's mum and dad.
Yeah.
Like Hoyt Axton he just plays one of those great wholesome movie dads, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
And how his wife is just so patient with all these shitty inventions that don't work and stuff. And like she uses them even when he's not there. Do you know what I mean? It's quite
it's
sweet.
nice. Yeah, it's like it's supportive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I love the bit where she's using the coffee machine. That's a bit now that you say that does feel ad-libbed when he comes over and he's like, "Why? What's wrong with this?" And they both just start chuckling. It just seems really genuine.
Yeah, it's like treacle that's coming out of it.
Yeah.
All the Peltzer inventions.
Yeah.
But it's really, really cool scene.
It is.
It does set it up. It gives it that mysticism that the film kind of needed, I think. Mm-hmm. You know, of like, what is a mogwai and stuff. But I think an American audience in the 80s could buy that deep in China there's mogwais or something.
Yeah, it is one of those. That's why, like, I just dread the day that they remake Gremlins and there's, like, the fucking mogwai backstory. Of where the guy found the mogwai, where it's
from space or something.
Yeah.
They'll fall over themselves to give it some sort of extraterrestrial like background.
And then there'll be a Disney Plus series in space or some bollock.
Some like mini series
about like Gizmo's great grandmother.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It'll be voiced by like some famous singer or something. Be like Ariana Grande voicing one of the mogwais.
The most random cast now. We'll get fucking Miley Cyrus to fucking do Stripe and she'll go,
yeah, totally. Just using a normal voice. Bless her. But yes, don't even joke about it.
No, we shouldn't because we'll just fucking make it happen like through willpower if I'm joking about it too much. Yeah. One thing I was going to say though, like little Corey Feldman in this early in his career.
Yeah.
Now we might have talked about this before, but I just want to mention it again. Like Feldman's 80s run from here on in is like just a classic after classic. It's insane,
crazy, isn't it? Yeah. The stuff that he was in, like for our generation, like we grew up watching him basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we grew up watching him grow up pretty much. Yeah, because like I've noted them all down. So Friday the 13th Part 4 came out in April of '84. Massive hit. And Gremlins came out in June. Massive hit. So that's just 1 year. Next year, 85, you had The Goonies and plus the cameo on Friday 5. 1986, Stand By Me. 1987, Lost Boys. 1988, License to Drive, which was him and Corey Haim's first big solo movie. 89, The Burbs, and then 90, he was Donatello voicing the Turtles. Like that's an insane run. But like all loved films, you know what I mean? Still today.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went tits up after that.
Yeah,
but still, 84 to 90, that's still a hell of a 6-year run. It's crazy.
Yeah. And unfortunately, again, it's just like a troubled sort of thing of being a child star and stuff. Very difficult, I guess. It's certainly in that era.
You're very lucky if you come out of it like well-adjusted and normal.
But still, it's cool when you first, like, it's one of those cool moments in this movie where you hear him before you see him.
Oh, and he's in the tree.
Yeah. But it's like unmistakably Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way you would miss that at him.
It's one of those things, though, that every time like I watch this, we watch it every couple of years. Well, sometimes I watch it every Christmas. It's sometimes a couple of years in a row. Because like, I forget how little he's in it. I always think he's in it more for some reason.
Yeah.
Just because it's Corey Feldman, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that kind of come and go really in this movie.
Well, Judge Reinhold just fucking disappears.
Yeah, definitely.
He must have been off doing Beverly Hills Cop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really strange, and like, arguably a lot of the characters in this movie just have a few scenes that kind of come and go. But we'll get on that towards the end. Just
because like the way Judge Reinhold's introduced, you feel like he's the best friend of Billy, or like at least the close friend.
He's going to be like some sort of antagonist or something maybe in the movie, or because he does the drawing of him like being a dragon or something.
He's kind of a dick as well.
Yeah, so you don't know, but like I said, you're right though. It feels like he's going to be more a part of the movie.
Like they're setting something up for later in the movie, but now he comes in, tries to bang Phoebe Cates, and then buggers it. Just like Fast Times at Ridgemont High again, except he's not jerking off in the bathroom.
Oh, is he? Who knows?
That's where he was the rest of the movie.
He went into the bar to gentlemen.
Fell asleep having a drunken wank.
But no, I love all the intro-y stuff. Like, it has a great energy. Like, from once you get the spooky stuff out of the way, and then the shot of the camera going over the town and stuff. You know, the Back to the Future town.
Yeah.
And the difference, the like different paces of the music, how it keeps coming in and out of different. Because you have like Mrs. Deagle's music comes in and stuff.
Yeah. Which is again kind of like I don't know if it's just a Jerry Goldsmith, Joe Dante thing, but it's like reminds me of the end of the Burbs, the way like it goes from the score to Queenie's music to
there's always always like a bit of me that like semi gets it muddled up in my head when I'll watch like the camera panning over the town and stuff, and I'm expecting the little box to come in, and I'm like, oh no, that's Burbs, fuck. But it's just because it's such a similar sort of thing. Yeah.
Like, the thing is, I noticed, like, I've always noticed, well, I didn't notice when I first sort of like read years ago that like the smiley face from the Howlands on the fridge in the Peltzer house. Mm-hmm. And at the end of this, I'd never noticed before that like the news reporter on TV at the end is the same news reporter from the Howland. So I was like, okay, so the Howland takes place in the same universe as Gremlins.
Yeah, why not?
In that universe, there's werewolves and mogwais. And I always think, oh, it'd be great though, imagine if the Babes were set in the same town as Gremlins. Yeah. And it's just this fucked up town where crazy shit happens.
Yeah, mad mashup, why not?
Yeah.
The Dante verse.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, speaking of the character reductions and stuff, like Mrs. Deagle, like what a fucking just ridiculous like cartoon villain she is. She's so good though.
I like it. Yeah, it's just it's just the rich person that owns half the town and stuff. They are so, but yeah, she plays a good part for what she has in it. Really
Interesting enough as well, she has a cat called Kopek. Not Klopek, Kopek. Very close.
Yeah. It's,
like, is that a reference to something?
It's a reference to money. All that cats are, because I think one of the cats is called Dollar Bill, another cat is called Dime. It's a blink and you miss it thing. As she's coming down the stairs, she like kind of calls out to them and stuff. And yeah, they're all named after money.
I thought it was mean. I missed that. I always thought it was just a reference to something else, and they must and that's what Klopek's a reference to in the Burbs. But no, I guess not. Yeah,
to be fair though, there's a lot of little references in this movie that like leave you thinking like, oh, is that something? Like, for instance, the Road Warrior poster that you see at one point in the loft. And stuff. There's a lot of like little things that you can miss.
But yeah, her, just skipping ahead, like her death scene is so fucking hilarious. Just the way she comes flying out the window.
Yeah, and the two cops are like, that was Mrs. Deagle.
Yeah.
Just see her go flying by, her feet sticking up in the air.
Yeah, it's genius. With Mike from Breaking Bad. Oh, fuck. Jonathan Banks. Fuck me. Yeah. I forget his fucking name. Jonathan Banks.
I always forget his name as well, to be fair.
It's funny, though, that, like, in this, once again, like, Beverly, I'd say two Beverly Hills Cop references. Like, he's in Beverly Hills Cop as well. Mm-hmm. It's just funny that in this, he's playing, like, the bumbling deputy comedy role.
Yeah.
And in the fucking first 10 minutes of Beverly Hills Cop, he's brutally shooting a man in the back of the head.
Very different roles.
He's got some range on him, more Jonathan Banks.
He does.
One thing I just want, like with you saying the Road Warrior poster, I always loved Billy's attic bedroom when I was a kid. That was like what I aspired my bedroom to be like.
Yeah. You know what? I would go further and say I always like yearned for an attic bedroom.
Yeah,
it's one of the things I always wanted. Yeah. One of Kevin's like friends from school, he had a bedroom attic, attic bedroom even, and yeah, it was like very, very similar. You went up like little wooden stairs and stuff, and I was always like, oh, I want to live here. Something just cool about living in the attic.
Yeah, you just feel more out of the way, don't you? You're on your own separate floor. It's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool, isn't it? Cozy and stuff, and and like some cool posters on the ceiling and stuff.
But going back to the rules, though, like, you know, I'm not pointing out anything new here. The eating after midnight thing makes no sense.
Yeah,
like what does that mean? It's too loose. Like, it's always after midnight.
They kind of lampoon that, don't they?
Oh yeah,
second one,
yeah. That's why I love the second one. It's like one of the weirdest but best sequels ever. Like, and that's why it flopped, because everyone was like, I don't get it. Why are they making fun of the movie?
Yeah. Because it is silly. Like, I think, as they say in the second one, like, what happens if, like, one of them has, like, a bit of corn stuck in the teeth?
Yeah, or you're flying over a time zone.
Yeah, or you're flying over a time zone. Like, how does it work? And like you said, technically, every time is after midnight.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Where's the cut-off? Like, does it start again at 6 a.m?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. We said, like, don't feed them between 12 and 6. That would be a lot fucking easier.
So, yeah, it is a bit silly. You've got to kind of suspend your disbelief for that, really.
Should have asked the grandfather at the end, and he just goes, oh, just mumbles as he leaves.
I don't really know. Yeah, and the bright light thing as well, like, it's such an obvious bit of trivia, this, but they just decided to chuck in that they're allergic to bright lights, so that they could just shoot the movie dimly, so that you didn't see all the like puppetry and some of the limitations of the animatronics and stuff.
Pretty smart, but it also, you know, it comes up with a way to defeat them in a way and like keep them at bay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of clever, really, that they chucked that in.
I was going to say, I do love that little bit where they do trick him into feeding them after midnight, and when he leaves the room, they just all start whispering.
Yeah. Sneaky little bastards.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I love the idea that, like, Mogwais, by nature, are little bastards. But,
yeah,
like,
Gizmo's the normal one,
yeah, he's
the
the
nice one.
exception. Yeah, like, there's one freak, sort of one that's just not nasty, but yeah, they're always, like, nasty by nature, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The main bit when Stripe spits.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
It's all, like, yellow. So.
Yeah. And of course, there's like a few bits where like your heart just fucking sinks for both Gizmo and the dog. When they hang the dog for the lights, and when he's like strapped to the dartboard, his little legs are like kicking away.
Oh, cute dog. That dog was called Mushroom.
Yeah, I still noticed that this time in the credits. I was like, what a name. That's an awesome name for a dog. Mushroom.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be noisy.
Yeah.
Can you hear them? Oh, tell them I'll kick them out.
No, it's just perfect. If it keeps going, it's a perfect opportunity for you to just burst in and go, that's enough!
And then just slowly go back. And then as I'm going back, just go, that's enough. Still a quieter one.
You should always have a little wax jacket and a flat cap ready.
Yeah, totally. Just quickly chuck it on. Anyway, I'm back on track. It's interesting, this film, obviously, that it has quite a dark tone to it, I guess. It's
one of those films that, like, in hindsight, is remembered as a family kids movie, but it's not really. Just because it's got a cute creature in it doesn't really make. Like, I was reading it before, like some of the backlash it got at the time of parents like walking out and then Joe Dante kind of saying, "Well, no one said it was a kids movie."
Yeah.
And plus, over here, remember, it was a 15 on video in the 80s.
Yeah, well, that's it. In fact, in America, I think, isn't this film in Temple of Doom credited as, like, I think that the MPAA created, like, the PG-13
Yeah,
in America.
I think it was Temple of Doom that created it for, because, you know, that is a dark fucking
But,
movie.
like, this was the run-up to it, and, like, I think after this film came out, and it was, like, whatever rating it would have been in America.
Would have been PG.
Yeah, and I think it was, like, people were like, that's not really right. Like, it doesn't feel like a PG.
Yeah, it always just takes, like, one or two movies for, like, you know, that are somewhere in the middle. It's kind of like how... I don't know if it was because of Batman, but I know Batman was the first 12 over here. Because they were like, well, it's not a PG, it's too violent to be a PG, but there's not enough in it to be a 15, so they were like, let's just, you know, there should be a rating between those two anyway. There should have been for years.
Yeah, it was too much of a jump.
Yeah.
But yeah, very dark, sort of. I guess with the classroom scenes kind of the main standout.
Yeah, that's a straight up horror scene. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny that there's a bit of an angle to it where you're almost on the Gremlin side because obviously he injects the little Mogwai and stuff, where he takes the Mogwai's blood.
Yeah, you do feel sorry for it. Shitting itself. It's like trembling and stuff. I do like the fact as well, like, this teacher's just got this, like, unknown species just in a cage in a classroom full of kids. Yeah. Like, wouldn't you put it somewhere when you're teaching a class, for God's sake? Like, what if this has been, like, a few hours... He'd done that, like, it evolved a few hours earlier, and it just broke out in a classroom full of kids.
Mauled children. Yeah. But yeah, great scene. And I love the slow... Probably one of my favourite things about this movie, and so many movies of the 80s that did this, the slow build-up. They don't just, like, show you the gremlin immediately. No. You see, like, its hand, like, it quickly scratches, like, the teacher's hand. Yeah. You see, like, a bit of a shadow, and then you see a very, very quick glimpse of it, like, when Billy goes into the medical cupboard, like... Oh, yeah. And it, like, bursts out, but it's very, very brief.
That's a great jump scare, though.
Yeah. And then, obviously, like, then you're going on to, like, the kitchen scene, where, again, you just see shadows for a little bit. You see the red eyes and the Christmas tree, and you're just getting little snippets of the gremlin rather than just seeing it full on camera. Yeah. And then obviously you do. I think the first time you properly get an eyeful is when it's like sat in the blender, like eating cookies or something.
Well, it's just like skulking around and just stops because it finds food.
Yeah.
But yeah, that bit, like, you know, I still remember that bit kind of like making us like, go, what the hell? When I first saw it when I was really young, like, you know, she's literally she's the most capable person in the movie.
She goes like full like Sigourney Weaver, like
she
Ripley
does
or something.
Yeah, just full on like stabs one, puts one in a food blender, and then sticks one in a microwave, and then fights with one like almost to the death.
Yeah, she's pretty badass. The mum, like,
I always forget as well. She's the mum in She's like Marty's grandma in Back to the Future in like 1955.
Yeah.
And I always forget until I watch Gremlins again and go, where the hell's she from, are you?
She's just got one of them faces, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Like, where you like, it's burned into your memory.
It's just, it always takes us a minute because it's just got that exaggerated voice in Back to the Future.
Yeah. But yeah, a cool scene. And very, very iconic with the music there. Do you see what I see?
Yeah, you can't hear that again without thinking of Gremlins.
Like, absolutely, it's attached to this movie.
I think another thing as well, speaking of like things that you think of when you see this movie, I'm positive watching it this time, I don't know why it's never clicked before, that Tarantino got the inspiration for the end of Inglourious Bastards from this movie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've literally wrote that
he would never fucking admit that, but I guarantee you, one of the movie has a scene where you kill a bunch of people in a cinema by setting it on fire.
Yeah, and like Gremlins, Nazis, there's definitely a parallel there.
Yeah, exactly.
They multiply when they get wet.
I want to like make an edit where like Shoshana comes up on the screen and they're all like
laughing and stuff, throwing popcorn about.
Let's just talk about the bar scene. I was going to say, like, obviously, I think we both love the ski mask gun gremlin the most. Because how can you not? Because it's just weirdly hilarious and dark.
The little nasty bastard. And I love that he's got a little gun.
Yeah.
It's not even like a human-sized gun. It's a gremlin gun.
Where did he find that gun?
It just goes full Looney Tune at that point, basically. And that's the thing, I've said this before, I'm sure, when we've talked. Like, people say Gremlins 2 is too silly.
I know.
But you're like, come on, Gremlins 1's pretty silly.
It seems like people just remember that kitchen scene and, like, how like gory it is and forget about the fucking bar scene, which is kind of stupider and like than anything in the second one.
Like the start, like the one that's exercising, it's got the little ankle warmers on.
Yeah. But yeah, my favourite one except Ski Mask is the one that just comes up with the hand puppets.
And just gets a mallet to the face.
Yeah. Oh, that whole scene's genius. I just love as well how they've just let off Phoebe Cates because she keeps feeding them booze.
Yeah.
Like they don't attack her, just like keep the drinks coming. It's so weird.
And the fact that she keeps serving them as well.
Yeah.
Like, what's going through her mind?
Like you think, like, how long has she been doing this?
She's like just placating them by giving them beer and cigarettes.
Oh, it's such a good scene.
Although I will say, wouldn't they multiply if they were drinking beer?
Yeah, well, that's another rule. Like, what do they drink if they're not allowed to have, like, all
plot
liquid
hole.
is water, basically?
Yeah, strange plot hole. Yeah. But we'll let it off.
Yeah,
for comedic purposes.
Yeah, because that's another thing is that like, with the effects, like, you never see them walking except in that. There's the stop motion bit, obviously, when they'll come down the street. There's a brief bit in the bar where like they kind of look like marionettes, like Thunderbirds, where they walk along. You don't see it for too long.
I would say, like, generally, this movie's aged really well in terms of like puppeteering and creature effects and that.
I was going to say that in my highlights. Like, I never expected to age every time I watch it, but it's just like the animatronics for Gizmo, especially.
Yeah.
Because the way they did it didn't have like a bigger one and then a puppet one and stuff like that. Like the close-ups and stuff, like it's insane. It still looks like it was made yesterday. It's so good.
Yeah, like I said, the one ropey scene you've mentioned it already is the bit when they're walking down the street.
Yeah, that's the only bit that's like aged as far as because no one does that anymore.
Bit over ambitious maybe.
Yeah,
so, like have a shot of like 20 of them walking down the street and stuff.
Isn't there like a really early CG Gizmo in Gremlins 2 as well? I keep thinking of that.
down the street.
Yeah, because every time I watch Gremlins 2, I'm like, fuck me, that looks good.
Yeah.
Like, especially for the time.
Yeah. But yeah, like most of it really holds up, though.
It does.
Definitely. Yeah.
What about the final battle between Billy and Stripe? There's some once again pure horror, but especially just like it should be silly that this little creature's coming at him with a chainsaw, but it's not. It's like especially when it shoots him in the back with like a baseball gun, and then shoots him in the arm with a crossbow, and then just comes at him with a chainsaw. It's terrifying,
nasty little bastard. Yeah. It's a cool like low key scene. I think it's one of them things that like nowadays. They would like have this massive scene where there's like thousands, or they would have a giant one that like destroys a fucking like skyscraper or something. Like
Critters 2.
Yeah, basically. Well, I just think like such a low key ending that like they all get fried, like burned to death in the cinema, but then like it's just 1-on-1 for the end at the end, and it's just kind of like it's a low key. He's on his back, kind of injured. And it's just creepy and it works, basically. And I think that's all you need sometimes for a really memorable end movie. You don't need like the world to be in threat.
No.
Or anything like that, so that's really cool.
What do you prefer though? Do you prefer Gizmo in the car or Gizmo trying to be Rambo in the second one. I think I prefer Rambo.
Yeah, probably Rambo.
Just because of my sensibilities with movies, it's fun to just see him with a little headband and the like Tipex bow and arrow and stuff.
Taking out the spider, Gremlin Mohawk and stuff.
Although I do love his little face though when he's driving the car thinking about the movie. It's very
his little eyes going and stuff.
Yeah, and that poor dog who just shits himself constantly at the end.
Yeah, the dogs, they genuinely like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you can't get a dog to act that. There's probably just like, just aim the car at his legs, see what happens. And at the end when it's looking at the frothing bubbles on the floor, it's like, what the fuck is that?
I do worry that dog. Like, how did they struss it up in like Christmas tree lights and stuff? Did they just literally wrap it up and chuck it up there?
It's probably got a harness on it or something, but it does look super uncomfortable.
I don't know. Maybe the dog was just very happy. It was trained to do that. Who knows?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, great end scene. I love the fact that obviously Stripe accidentally survives the cinema basically. Because
he's run out of cans.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, nom nom. And just goes over the road.
Yeah, I love when they just see him in the window, like stuff on his face.
Yeah, classic.
Oh shit, we forgot to talk about the film's most infamous moment, Phoebe Cates' super dark reason why she doesn't like Christmas. Really
strange inclusion, really. I believe Spielberg wanted the scene out of the movie, but relented.
I can't blame him. Like, no, don't get us wrong, it's a good scene. It's a great performance by her, the way she tells it and stuff, but it does just like, oh wait a minute, I know like everything's the town's going to be destroyed by like these weird creatures, but hold on a second, I've got to tell you why I hate Christmas, because my dad died in a chimney. Like, I was thinking this time, like, okay, if this all happened in this town, surely everyone would know that story.
Yeah.
Billy would know that her dad died stuck up a fucking chimney on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, because they've already established it's a small town.
Yeah.
Like, it's established when she says like everyone's parents has met at the bar and stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I also think like, and I'll mention it now rather than like do a specific criticism thing at the end, but like, it just doesn't serve any purpose, I guess. I think that's its biggest sin, that scene. Like, I don't mind it being in the film, but like, her character just kind of like disappears after, like, once Billy like goes in and fights Stripe and stuff. I mean, she does some stuff upstairs where she turns the lights on and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, just could there not have been some sort of payoff? Could they've tied in something about a character arc for her or something?
Yeah.
Maybe it's I mean, it's not that type of movie, I guess. You don't need like massive character arcs and setups and payoffs.
No.
It just maybe would have been nice, because it does just kind of stop the movie dead.
It does a little bit.
When she tells a little story.
But they do a great piss take of that in the second one, though.
Yeah, where he just goes, "We haven't got time for this." So yeah, I suppose for that, it's great setup for the sequel.
It is, yeah.
To be fair,
like, I would feel sorry for someone who just went to the pictures in 1990 to see Gremlins 2 without having seen the original.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "What the fuck is this movie?"
Yeah, you wouldn't know what was going on.
And then fucking Hulk Hogan turns up, and they're just like, I don't know what, fine, whatever.
Don't know how to take this. Dracula turns up at one point. Christopher Lee. But I suppose, though, as well, we should talk about another essential character of this movie, Dick Miller.
Oh, yeah, shit, when you mentioned Dick Miller, yeah.
We'll definitely need to touch on Dick Miller.
It's just like everyone's dad.
Just working class man.
Yeah.
Like, he drives a plough. He hasn't even got a car. He just drives a plough.
And just constantly bangs on about foreigners all the time.
It said it in the text message last night. One of my favourite bits that always cracks me up is when the aerial starts fucking up and he's like, you think he kicks off even about the foreigners? He's like, foreign like aerials or something.
Foreign TVs, yeah. Should have got a Zenith.
That's it, yeah. But then, like, just for a minute, like, some Spanish channel comes on, like, the TV, and he just goes, foreigners. Just like under his breath.
Yeah.
It's so good. Just always like massively paranoid about foreign like machinery, and yeah.
I do wonder as well, though, like, because it's hinted at that they're dead, them two.
Absolutely, I think so. Yeah, I think they brought them back for the sequel, but for this film, they were supposed to die.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I wonder if he brought them back for the sequel as a joke on sequels, where people are just supposedly dead, but not, or just because like, he's like, well, I need Dick Miller in the movie.
Yeah, I need to get him back.
But yeah, he's a very good character. That's one of my criticisms, actually. More Dick. I wish the film was Dick Miller versus the Gremlins.
Yeah, like Dick Miller saved the day with his snowplow or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Why not?
Comes in all bandaged up in his snowplow and just rams it through the toy store.
Yeah. Although I will say one thing just to highlight, that it came out the same day as Ghostbusters, which is crazy.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
1984.
I mean, you look at the shit that, like, finished at the end of the year. What was it, like, Temple of Doom, Ghostbusters, Gremlins, and it's just like, you just don't get that anymore. Like, the time will tell, but, like, I don't know, I can't remember the last time, like, the top 10 of the year were all movies you'd remember, like, you know what I mean? That you would definitely be classics and, like, still in 10 years' time.
I feel like we're definitely in a dark spell of cinema where, like, there's, like, one film comes out every 5 years that's considered one of them.
And plus now with, like, you know, a lot of films people still talk about a year later were like movies on Amazon or Netflix, so it's kind of even hard to gauge now if we're going to stuff top 10s and shit. But like 84 was a hell of a year, like without just like stuff that wasn't at the end. But like, you know, like Friday the 13th 4, the best one, came out in 1984.
Yeah. Just like a really crazy inspired time for cinema.
Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 84.
Yeah.
What a year.
Mad.
So yeah, any more specific highlights that we didn't mention? Because I was just going to mention the late great Jerry Goldsmith's score, which is very iconic and super catchy theme tune.
Yeah, that's it. Like great cinematography, same cinematographer of you know, The Burbs and stuff, obviously, and like one of Joe Dante's guys. So the film has a great look. Yeah, and like you said, great soundtrack, very very memorable. Yep. No, the bar scene was what I obviously wrote as the highlight for me.
Yeah, that is my favourite scene, yeah.
And like I said, I feel like we've touched on the one criticism of the movie is just that monologue scene. I love the scene, but it's just a bit like, it doesn't serve its purpose.
Really. Yeah, it just, you know, it sticks out like a sore thumb, you know, and like, I guess Joe Dante knew that himself, hence why he took the piss out of it in the second one.
Yeah.
And yeah, my only criticism was, like I said, not enough Dick Miller. I would have liked a bit more Dick Miller.
Definitely, more Dick Miller.
And, you know, I like none of Judge Reinhold.
Show.
I suppose we should talk about merchandise. Quickly rattle
through. I'll quickly. I think, you know, with films like Gremlins and Scrooged, there's not going to be anything mad for Blu-rays and stuff. But I guess every Gremlins released pretty much since Blu-ray and DVD, it's always got full extras besides stuff like, you know, cover variations and various steelbook designs from all over the place. But next year is the 40th anniversary, so I don't know if there'll be a new release. I mean, the 4K only came out in 2019. Yeah. So I don't think it's probably warranted. They'll fucking will though. Probably.
Also, steelbook or something.
There is one thing though that, like, I remembered looking up like images for the movie. You remember, like, because there's the poster with just him with the box and Gizmo peeking out of it. Yeah. And then the video box is that, but it's got Stripe bursting out, and he's wrote "We're here." Yeah. And I assume now it's a reference to Poltergeist, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
But I always remember another box that says "We're back," and it's for Gremlins 1, not 2. And I was like, wait a minute, because when I saw the "We're here," I was like, was that a weird Mandela effect? But no, I found it. It's on the like the sell-through version. It says "We're back."
That's weird. Yeah,
and I'm like, why does that mean they're back on video?
Yeah, maybe.
It's not a sequel. Like, it always confused me as a kid when I'd see that and go, we're back. It's Gremlins 2.
Maybe, so maybe it was for like the home video
that's what I thought.
Or something.
That's what I thought. Yeah, but it's kind of vague.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, I've never really thought about it, and I'm pretty sure I can picture the one you mean though. Like the image. Like I'm sure I've seen that one before. Never really thought about it.
Yeah, it's just the same, except we're back. It confused the shit out of me as a kid.
Weird.
But what about there's a lot of art.
Yeah, a ton. It's one of them films that just really attracts like a lot of artists. Out the ones I've sent you, like we've got the Hans Woody one, the one that's like blue with Gizmo, and there's like a blue gremlin behind him. It's blue sort of print.
That's
really
cool.
Really nice. Kind of looks like some sort of classy oil painting in the flesh.
It does. Yeah.
Really nice. The Juan Sanios with the street scene. I've always really loved that one.
Yeah, that's nice.
But like Rich Davies, I think that poster's just come out. The one with in the street where he's walking down the street. Yeah. Really atmospheric. I love it. There's just a ton. I won't list them all off. We'll tag them on social media and stuff. But there's a whole ton of art. Basically, I think that's probably because the cinematography is so good. There's just key scenes throughout the movie where you think, "Fuck me, that's lit really well and stuff, and shot really nicely." And then, you know, it came about probably because of the limitations of the technology. They had to film it dark and light it really nicely. And
I was going to say that's like partly why, I guess, and maybe not so much with this movie, but a lot of movies that have creature effects that like aren't huge budgets or anything, like they will keep them and like they won't show you them straight away because they have dramatic reasons. Yeah, and two, it's you know, it takes a lot of time and fucking effort to set up these shots with these like special effects, so you don't want to be doing that through the entire movie.
Yeah, and obviously there's been a raft. I'm not going to do video games. There has been a few. Certainly during the NES era, there was Gremlins video game and stuff. Gremlins 2 video game, I think it was.
All right, so Gremlins gets one and Bullet in the Head doesn't.
This is it. It's a massive imbalance in the NES. Like, what was the NES thinking about?
I know.
Only doing Gremlins. Surprising that it hasn't really got more love, Gremlins, like in video game format and stuff over the years.
Yeah.
Another one of them things you would have thought they would have wanted to cash in on, but but that's not the case with action figures. Obviously, you've got
Jesus, you've got all of them.
well, yeah, NECA have absolutely released a shit ton of figures, and literally, I just bought everyone. So
do you have them on? Do you have a picture of all of them? Or do you have them on display at the moment? Those the ones you put away?
I'll have to look. I'll look for a picture actually, and I'll send it. Yeah, they're all in storage at the moment.
Actually, there may be one already on your Instagram. I'll get off there. Yeah.
But yeah, like the Christmas Carol, the Spider Gremlin from the sequel. They've literally done them all basically. But yeah, I love the obviously the full size Gremlins as we mentioned at the start.
Yeah, from Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat, yeah. Done like a standard Gremlin. They've done Stripe. They've done the little ski mask Gremlin, which I really should get at some point.
Yeah, I didn't realise they did that.
Very fair. NECA have done some Gremlins as well, the full size ones.
Oh, have they?
Like made of foam latex and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they've done to memory. They've done the stripper Gremlin. The Flasher Gremlin even.
Oh yeah.
And I think they've done one like the brown Gremlin from the sequel and stuff. Maybe he's done Stripe as well. I think they might have done the female Gremlin as well, Henrietta.
Oh yeah.
Called, from the sequel. So yeah, there's a lot of choices as a Gremlin fan anyway. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. I mean, with the art thing as well, like it's always films like this are going to have a lot of art because it's like, I imagine the people like the current artists these days are like our age and they're just going to grow the shit they grew up with. You know what I mean?
Massively. Like
the favourite movies when they were kids. So you're going to get a lot of art for like Gremlins, Ghostbusters, stuff like Indiana Jones, stuff like that, Star Wars. So yeah, Gremlins, bloody good movie, innit?
Yes, very good.
Is it in your top 10?
Yeah, I would have to really think about it, but it's close up there, yeah. Yeah, it's high up there. It's a film I can always just watch and like, I'd never feel bored of watching Gremlins.
No, me either, really, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. Maybe if it was genre films, it would definitely be in like one of my top, like certainly like creature sort of comedy or I don't know. Yeah, sort of films. Yeah, definitely.
And I guess as well, like, I mean, we've mentioned it a couple of times, but like, we haven't really had the chance over the past couple of shows to like go into like sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and all that. But yeah, Gremlins 2. I'm sure we'll do Gremlins 2 at some point. We'll save that. We'll save that for next year because that's still set at Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, because although, God, I would have to look. I'm trying to think. Like, is there any scenes where it's Christmassy?
Maybe not. Actually,
no.
Maybe they've just assumed because this one's such a Christmas movie.
Yeah, no, it might not be, because isn't there like Halloween-y stuff and that going on? I don't know.
I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen this.
Me too, to be fair, yeah.
Frank Cross is more than the youngest network president in television history.
Call security, have them change his locks, and toss him out of the building.
Oh, he's fired? It's Christmas.
Thank you. Call accounting, stop his bonus. Oh, watch out.
He's a thoughtful boss.
Thanks, boys. Get the nurse.
A generous brother.
What did he give you last year?
I don't remember. A shower curtain. Ma'am, I think you dropped something here.
And a true humanitarian.
I can't get the antlers glued onto this little guy. We've tried crazy glue.
Have you tried Staples?
But his life is about to change.
That was a good one.
You are going to be visited by 3 ghosts tomorrow at noon.
God, tomorrow's bad for me, Lou. As a matter of fact, the whole rest of the week is a washout. Ow.
Anyone who thinks he hates Christmas is wrong.
Come back to Jersey, you moron!
It's ghosts he hates.
I love that bit!
I'm the ghost of Christmas present.
Bill Murray. Karen Allen.
It sounded like you'd seen a ghost.
A ghost?
John Forsythe. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Hey! You glad to see me, or is this a shotgun in your pocket? You know this one?
Everybody knows this one. Let's go now.
God, does everybody know this one?
Carol Kane. Robert Mitchum.
I really care.
David Johansen.
Oh, I'm having the weirdest day.
See Bill Murray get Scrooged.
Hey, back off, big man. That may work with the chicks, but not with me.
So yeah, Scrooged came out in 1988. Fun fact about it, Bill Murray was 38 when he shot the film.
That's the first thing in my notes, because that's what I always do. I'm like, I wonder how old Bill Murray was. And I'm like, younger than I am now.
Which doesn't make any sense at all.
But let's be honest, looks older than we do.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, there's definitely that. He does not look like he's 38.
Bill Murray's one of those guys like that looks like he lived downwind of a nuclear testing plant. It's like Clint Eastwood, where you're like, how old is he? What the fuck?
Just cannot tell how old he is throughout all these movies. So yeah, runtime 1 hour 41 minutes, directed by Richard Donner, of course, starring Bill Murray as Francis Xavier Cross, to give him his full name.
Yeah.
Karen Allen as Claire Phillips, John Glover as Bruce Howard, Robert Mitchum as Preston Rhinelander. Got a big cast here. Alfred Woodward as Grace Cooley, Bobcat Goldthwait as Elliot Loudermilk, David Johansen as the Ghost of Christmas Past, Carol Kane as the Ghost of Christmas Present, Michael J. Pollard as Herman, and Lee Majors as himself.
I love how he just plays himself in that movie.
And also, shout out to all the Murrays that are in this film.
Yeah.
All the Murrays are in this one.
Murray.
So, what is Scrooged all about?
Well, tyrannical network executive Frank Cross is planning a live telecast of A Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve on his station when he is visited by three spirits who attempt to change his ways before it's too late in this 1980s retelling of the festive classic. So it's kind of meta in a way. Meta Christmas Carol. Before that was even a phrase.
It's kind of like one of them things where you're tempted to say a modern retelling, but then you're like, well, it was released like 30 odd years ago.
30, was it fucking 35 years ago?
Still modern to us.
It is, weirdly. Yeah.
But yeah, what a cool way of doing it, like a satirical, comedic version of A Christmas Carol. I think there's probably a gamble, in 1988 to do this.
And I've got this thing, like I was saying earlier when I was watching it, like, I've got this thing where, I think I've asked you this before as well, like 1988 was I was 6, but it was like the year I realised I took note of what year it was, if that makes sense.
You're aware of it.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of weird memories of like specifically 1988, and I've got a big memory of this coming out, and like my brother had the song from the end credits.
Oh yeah.
My brother had that on like a 7-inch single, so I would always look at the cover was just the movie poster.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing it and being super freaked out by the bit where he opens the cloak and all those things are in his ribcage. Yeah, because you know what I was like when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God! The room was traumatised for 3 years.
Obsessing about it and stuff for hours after.
Rocking back and forward.
There's something about this movie, though. There's definitely a dark tone to it, obviously. But because my very early memory was it was on TV. As when I first saw anything of it, and I think it was the fairy bit, basically, when I tuned into it, the Ghost of Christmas Present. I turned it off because I felt like I was watching something bad that I shouldn't be watching. I was like,
little innocent Christopher Kane.
Yeah. So like I don't know when it came out on TV, like 8 or 9 or something, or
probably
whenever it was. But yeah, I distinctly remember turning off, going, I shouldn't be watching this. It feels too adult.
You little pussy.
I know. Like probably because by that point I had already seen like Nightmare on Elm Street or something. But
yeah.
I was cautious though. I was always cautious in movies. Like the next scene might be some demon or something. I'll be like, eh.
Yeah, but it's like that thing when like you first get like a little TV in your room, and even though you can watch whatever you want, you get your own TV in your room. If it's like a certain time, you keep that volume low just in case. Just in case a parent walks in, and there's like tits come on the screen.
Wasn't watching it honestly.
But yeah, weirdly, I was thinking, which I know it shows these two because they're both Christmas movies, but there's a weird Gremlins connection with John Glover. He's in Gremlins too.
Yeah.
Also is like a TV exec guy, I guess.
Basically the same character. And
he kind of is.
And also, both movies, he ends tied to a chair getting kissed involuntarily by somebody that he doesn't want to be kissed by.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but then I thought that was Robert Picardo, but it is him, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Although is it actually...
And Robert Picardo gets made out with by the female grandma.
Yeah, or is it him? Oh, you know what? I'll have to check. And maybe it's Mandela-ing that. It might be Robert Picardo.
It's definitely Robert Picardo, because there's that scene in the where he's covered in like lipstick and stuff in the bathroom.
Yeah, but then he's kind of into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Robert Picardo, maybe just merging the two movies.
Either way, there's two scenes with a woman forcefully making out with a man who doesn't want to be made out with.
Yeah, it's a strange connection. What a cast, though.
It's got a crazy cast, yeah. It's got a very good cast.
Yeah, because obviously I could have probably listed a few other people, but I wanted to give everybody a shout out that sticks out in the movie, because there's just so many. Like Robert Mitchum and stuff, like crazy.
And essentially like an extended cameo, you know what I mean?
They weren't sure whether Robert Mitchum would actually star in the film, because he, it's fucking Robert Mitchum. Like, why does he want a bit part in a movie like this? Is the mentality. Yeah. But when they approached him and stuff, he was like massively on board straight away with it, and he was like, I think he had a meeting with Bill Murray and really got on with him and stuff. So yeah, cool.
He plays a great role as the shit that happens in every line of work, like that, like the guy at the top's kind of clueless, and wanting them to appeal to cats. I love his whole spiel, and Bill Murray's just face of the fuck are you talking about?
As he's leaving, he's like, call the police.
Yeah, this might be one of my. I mean, Bill Murray's had a lot of great performances, but this might be my favourite. It's just as far as the character goes. There's so many bits in this thing. I love the bit where the woman's complaining that you can see the dancer's nipples through her top, and then when she gets knocked down, he's like, make sure her nipples are covered. The dry way he delivers it's fucking hilarious.
I love the way that obviously you kind of know what's coming, because the woman, you see the woman from the back. And Bill Murray's looking right at her, and he's like, "What's wrong with her costume?" So the camera's going to come round, and it's going to be somewhat ridiculous. But I think it's even better that you can't just fully see her exposed.
It's just the tops of her nipples.
It's the very tops, and it's so gratuitous. It's so funny.
Next what it's saying, you can see her nipples. He's like, "I want to see her nipples." Bill Murray's I don't know, you hear a lot of stories about Bill Murray that he's kind of a bit of a miserable sod.
Hard to work with as well.
Yeah, so when I see this, I'm like, is this just a really exaggerated version of what he's like?
Yeah.
But he's good at it, though. He's so good at playing a horrible bastard.
I think apparently there was quite a lot of stuff shot but not used as well for this movie. There was a lot of... I think him and Richard Donner didn't get on massively during the film, because Richard Donner was a director on a mission. He was film it, cut it, print it, move on to the next scene. Yeah. And Bill Murray was very much can we try something different? And it just the styles didn't match, basically.
I was going to go into Richard Donner, though we might have mentioned this on the Lethal Weapon shows, but his filmography is just insane when you think about it. I'm just list The Omen, Superman, The Goonies, Lethal Weapon, and then stuff like Maverick and Lady Hawk. He's one of those guys, he could just put him in any genre, and if you didn't know who directed it, you'd assume it was being directed by someone who was a master of that genre. And then I was looking today, and it makes sense now considering what you just said about how quick he worked. For the first 15 years of his career, he just did TV. He was just directing episode after episode after episode of TV.
Tight timescales.
So that's where he gets his just skill from, of all the different types of TV he was directing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a guy that I think should be kind of in everyone's best director lists, because
powerhouse, really real powerhouse, movie maker, basically. Just got through it.
And of course, you've got a bunch of the Richard Donner regulars in this.
I was just about to say Richard Donner crew, basically, because I didn't really call out Mary Ellen Trainor, who's in the Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, The Moment in the Goonies and stuff. Stephen Kahn, Captain Murphy from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, and you've got the guy who plays Nick Murtaugh. As one of the kids, and Dolores from Lethal Weapon 3. I looked up, this is only one of one of 4 movies she was ever in, and 2 of them are Richard Donner movies.
Mad.
I think I don't think she was a full-time actor. I think she was a singer. So I don't know how she knew Richard Donner, but
just mates or something. And
and other little roles as well, like you mentioned Michael J. Pollard and Anne Ramsey, of course, as 2 of the bums who think he's Richard Burton. I forgot that they mentioned Exorcist 2.
I laughed at that with us obviously talking about Exorcist 2 recently. I thought that was quite a funny tie-in for us.
Where he's after Exorcist 2, and what is it, Night of the Iguana? he's like, things kind of went downhill for you. And fucking Murray's insanely over the top impression of Richard Burton.
Yeah, which I think is a riff of Saturday Night Live skit. I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
From memory, the trivia and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, crazy cast, crazy.
Yeah, it's really good.
One thing that I always thought, and I did have a look, and I couldn't find any trivia for this, but I would thoroughly believe if someone told me that the Bobcat Goldthwait character, if that was written for Rick Moranis originally.
I could totally, now that you say, I could totally see Rick Moranis in that role.
Like I said, I couldn't find any trivia or anything about it, but
if you consider, like, when it came out, like, it got popular from, like, the last two Police Academy movies, so it would make sense to go, we need that guy in the movie. He's really popular
like
at the
crazy
moment.
unhinged guy.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, because obviously that's not his real voice, but everyone thought it was his real voice for years.
He's quite well spoken, isn't he, from memory?
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, and he's like an acclaimed film director now and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I just think how much his throat would have been fucked after like shooting a movie.
Yeah,
just doing take after take of doing that voice because it looks like it hurts to do that voice.
Yeah, totally crazy. I do love his like inclusion in this movie. Like, I think he plays a good role and stuff.
Yeah,
totally.
Because he's like the Bob Cratchit, right?
Basically, yeah, and like his whole subplot through the movie, it just runs through the entire movie. You know, like he's just having a really shit day, basically.
Yeah, loses his job, and he's just trying to think of how he's going to break into his girlfriend. Gets drunk, gives blood, passes out.
She like leaves him with the kid. I think he says at one point.
Yeah,
getting splashed by the car. It's just like a really bad day that he has.
He's good. I love Bobcat Goldthwait growing up in the with the Police Academy movies and stuff.
What about the obviously we mentioned it already, but the Lee Majors cameo?
Yeah, well, I was thinking like that's pretty much the inspiration. They said, didn't they, the makers of that Violent Night, the David Harbour Santa Claus movie, they pretty much said like they wanted to make a feature-length version of that.
Yeah, I love that. It's like The Night the Reindeer Died.
I know, it's such a good fucking title. I was thinking like, I wish Violent Night was called that. The Night the Reindeer Died.
And he's just got like a minigun and stuff.
Yeah.
Which apparently it was the same prop, screen prop from The Predator as well.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the minigun. Yeah, it's that prop.
Just this one minigun going around Hollywood.
But yeah, I love, to be fair, I love the start. I always forget that it just starts cold. Like, it doesn't tell you that you're in a movie trailer.
Yeah.
It just starts and you're like in Lapland and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck, have I put the right movie on? But then like it just has very like Robocop-y feel about it with the like the satire and stuff, because you then get a trailer for like a comedy called Father Loves Beaver.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Oh, he's probably out chasing beaver.
The look of the kid's face is like
It's very good.
But yeah, it just feels very like Robocop-esque, Paul Verhoeven-y. With the satire, but you know, it plays well into the movie. That like it kind of works today still. That like satirical look on commercialism and you know, like execs being like bigger and better and louder,
and just his reaction when he finds out that like his version of the Scrooged trailer gave a woman a heart attack, and he's like, this is brilliant.
Is like, you kidding me? You can't get like publicity like this.
Yeah,
I've gone by it. And then I think he says like, when his assistant Grace is like, what should I tell him? And he's like, oh, tell him it's probably something shit. And then she starts to tell him, and then he's like, oh, don't tell him that.
There's some great like it's such a good script. Like there's some great witty back and forth dialogue in the film. I love the bit where Murray just misremembers his childhood as moments from TV shows.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, and he's like, is it the Thanksgiving episode or something?
Yeah.
He like starts to remember it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, his dad, played by his brother, of course.
Oh yeah.
He's like, Brian
Brian Doyle Murray.
But again, like, I always get this film and like Rocky mixed up, because like a guy coming home with meat for Christmas.
You think Burt Young's gonna walk in and go, get up, you bum?
I was like, oh, is it this film that he has the veal?
Brian Doyle Murray's one of my favourite people to impersonate, just because he's got one of those voices.
Raspy voice, unmistakable.
Now and then I'll just walk around the house and go, Noah's Arcade.
Yeah, it's like this, Ghostbusters, Christmas Vacation, like just epic movies for him to be in, bless him.
Yeah. He's also, I always kind of forget that he's in the first Vacation as well.
Yeah.
As the guy at the campground eating the melon.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like, you should have had I feel like you should have had a much bigger career.
He's kind of just he became like a really reliable character actor.
Yeah.
He's always one of those guys you go, hey, he's here.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Karen Allen. Lovely Karen Allen.
Oh, yeah. The girl next door. She plays the role, like, really well, doesn't she, in this movie?
Yeah, I always like Karen Allen, like, in, Raiders and this, growing up and stuff. And, like, she always has, like, a pure wholesomeness about her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Even when, like in Raiders, when she's, like, chinning people and shooting people, she's still, like, even when she's got an edge, she's still quite wholesome.
Yeah, definitely. I always thought she would have made a good Lois Lane.
Lois Lane, yeah.
Yeah, as well, just has that look like Margot Kidder, sort of, but, like, not as edgy.
That's what I was saying this morning. Like, I was saying, like, I think when I was a kid, I sometimes used to get them mixed up for a moment and go, oh, no, wait, no.
Yeah, yeah, very,
like, just
very
watching fucking, like, Raiders and Superman on a loop when I was a kid.
Just blurring into one movie. Apparently, their, like, love story sort of angle was, like, not as written in the original version of this movie. Like, it was Bill Murray's, like, request, I think, to, like, punch that up a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, like, there wasn't as much of that in the original version.
Well, that totally makes sense to flesh that out as much as possible.
Yeah, because it gives the character, like, a bit of an arc to go on. You know, like, he was nice, he's a bastard, then he's nice again.
Yeah.
Although I do love the how ridiculous the flashbacks are. Like, I don't know if you ever done the maths of this of the flashback when you see him, like, when he first meets Karen Allen.
It's 68, isn't it?
Yeah, so he goes back to 1955 when he's 4. It's established. Then the taxi driver jumps forward to 1968. So when you see Bill Murray with his, like, black turtleneck and he's at the Christmas party, he would have been 17. Which, like, does not make sense at all.
No.
Like, could they not have just made them jump to the 70s or something? Like, why did they have to jump to 1968?
I don't know.
Because, like, Bill Murray, I mean, we joked about the fact he didn't look 38. He does not fucking look 17 at all. They just, like, frizz his hair up a bit.
Yeah, they just give him a bit of a mullet.
So yeah, you've really got to suspend your disbelief, basically.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, they could have just made, I don't know, brought earlier, like, could have been like 1950 or 1949 or something.
1940 something. Yeah, like why did they? I don't know. Maybe just one of them weird film mistakes. They never sat down and thought about it. Basically.
So how old would that make him, like, present day in the movie then? If he was 17 in 68, he would have been 38. Oh, he would have been 38. I guess that's why.
Yeah, like, they're trying to, like, stick to their own rules, but it kind of doesn't make any sense.
I thought it might have been a Murray thing, like, make me younger.
Yeah. But yeah, very strange anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the very natural progression of, like, you know, he's focusing on his job, and Karen Allen's, like, Claire Phillips is too nice for him, basically, and
pretty much,
they drift apart through life and stuff.
Yeah, it's always a very sad moment there when he goes off to do his show and then the door shuts and you assume that's the last time they probably saw each other.
Yeah.
I do love that bit at the end though. It always makes us, like, I don't know, it's like a genuine happiness when he's talking to the camera at the end and then he mentions her name and all the people in the homeless shelter start cheering.
Yeah.
I love that little bit for some reason.
Definitely.
It's a very sweet moment.
Yeah, very wholesome.
But as for the other ghosts, of course, you got Christmas Past with the taxi driver, who's awesome.
Yeah, he's one of them guys, David Johansen. I think it's Johansson, I'm assuming, if it's like Scarlett Johansson. Where I always feel like I know him from something.
He's in a bunch of stuff. I mean, he's mainly, like, in the 70s, he was, like, the lead singer, like, New York Dolls, like the punk band.
Yeah.
Well, punk glam band, the kind of early punk band. But yeah, he's in, the things I know him from, he's in the Tales from the Dark Side movie. And isn't he the bad guy in Mr. Nanny?
Maybe. Yeah,
or am I thinking of... Oh, maybe it's not. But maybe it is.
I didn't look him up on his IMDb, but, like, I always just feel like I know him. He's got one of them faces where you're like...
He's got a very, like, unique look, doesn't he? A very unique face. Yeah. It's like, seeing him in this, in the Tales from... I watched the Tales from the Dark Side movie quite a bit when I was younger, so...
Yeah.
It's kind of just those things I always associate him with.
Stands out, yeah. But a great performance he gives in this movie, though.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
A lot of great lines.
Yeah, just such a simple gag, but when Bill Murray walks into the door...
And you see him fucking laughing from the other side. Yeah. It's very good. And of course, Carol Kane is Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah, she's really, really good. She's like a mental actress here. Like she's kind of like that in real life. Basically.
Yeah. Like she's not really like putting on that high pitch voice. No.
I'm really pleased that she's in Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
Oh, is she?
She plays one of the commanders in it, and she's just exactly the same. Basically, she plays herself basically, but in Star Trek.
This is another thing that I remember with my parents. Like, this was my parents' favourite scene, watching it when I was younger at Christmas. Like, just because she's just super violent and inappropriate.
The toaster bit that always sticks in my head as a kid. Yeah, it's a toaster.
The bit that always sticks in my head is where she, like, you think she's just being like doing a nice thing, where she's trying to like calm him down, and she blows the glitter, but she's just blowing an X on his face to punch.
She's like backing up. Yeah. Apparently she like tore Bill Murray's lip.
I saw that looking up stuff just before we started recording. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Just accidentally grabbed him too hard. But yeah, great scene.
And then the Ghost of Christmas Future, which is, I'm guessing it's played by someone, but like, it's basically just a big like lurching, like in most interpretations, just a kind of, I always just thought of as like a kind of death figure.
Just silent Grim Reaper sort of thing. Yeah.
But I do love the modern touch with this one, that his face is a TV screen. It always changes. That's a nice touch. Yeah,
and obviously we've already mentioned it, but the ribcage stuff as well. Like
which freaked us out. Still quite. I don't know if it's just residual freakness from when I was a kid, but it still kind of makes us go. Yeah. Like, it's mainly the second time he looks in with the close-ups.
Just burn into your subconscious, basically, to be freaked out by it.
And like I was saying to you before we started recording, like, there's something I'd never noticed before, but then when you see its actual skull face on the TV, I'm 99% positive that's the same skull face they used in Evil Dead 2 for Henrietta. Yeah. When she morphs and just goes like, I'll swallow your soul, like that face.
Yeah, like when we were looking at the pictures, I could definitely buy it. Like, I wonder if the prop was available and they just grabbed it and spruced it up, put a hood on it, and thought, fuck it.
I double checked and everything to see if it was maybe like some of the same effects guys as Evil Dead 2, because they were like a year apart, quite close together. But I couldn't find any link, so I don't know.
Probably just a budget thing more than a...
It could be.
Probably not so much a like, let's have a not Evil Dead, but just let's save money because the prop's available.
But I just couldn't find any link to it, or any mention of it being. Even if it's not the same, it's very similar.
Yeah, definitely the eyes and stuff, and the little skull nose
the
thing.
Teeth and the cheekbones and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man.
I do like that. This is one of my only like criticisms of the movie. Really, is that like it takes him seeing his own funeral to change his mind.
Yeah, like the fear of death is what tips him over.
He flip-flops a lot in the movie. Like, you think like, he's realised now, and then he's like, fuck it, and he goes back to his old self, and you're like, shit. And then like it takes him like realising that like one day you're going to die, and everyone's going to fucking kind of hate you, and no one's going to be at your funeral. So he's still kind of selfish.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up when you think about it. Like
because none of the other like interpretations of A Christmas Carol, like they're all more gradual. And it's not a massive complaint. I just find it funny that like he's still kind of a dick at the end in a way.
Kind of self-serving. Yeah, because obviously the Howard character, the homeless guy that he sees, who's like frozen and stuff.
Yeah, like he is just dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of weird at the end of the movie where like you see him as a ghost.
The Jedi moment.
Yeah, you're like, so he literally died. Like, I don't know, in a nicer movie they would have found a way to like save him before he froze to death or something.
Yeah.
But nope. Not in this movie. Speaking of Star Trek though, as well, probably a shout out as well to the lady that plays, I think her character name's Lily in First Contact, the Alfre Woodward.
Oh yeah.
She plays an awesome character in First Contact.
Oh, does she? Well, we've done First Contact. I can't remember.
Yeah, she plays Lily. Like the character, she's in the past when they travel back in time.
Oh, okay.
She's kind of like semi-love interest for Picard. She ends up on the ship, but she's like fish out of water because she's not from their time period and stuff. But
I'll have to watch that again because I've only watched it once and we reviewed it like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago now. So yeah.
But yeah, great actress though. Like sticks out for such a like meager role in the movie, but she really like sticks out. I felt.
Is she not the Bob Cratchit? She kind of is really. She's the employee.
I guess.
Who was like it's like putting up with all his shit.
Yeah, and like trying to wrestle him into being a better person.
And the mute kid's Tiny Tim.
Yeah, of course of course should have thought about that. Yeah, it's kind of obvious. But I like how his brother gets a VCR instead of towels.
Yeah.
At that time period, I guess VCRs would have been like grand or something.
Yeah, definitely. 88, definitely. They've only been around a couple of years, pretty much like, popular, as far as like they've been a regular thing, but 5-6 years probably.
Yeah. So hell of a gift rather than towels.
I do like that movie. Well, the whole fucking the bit where he comes into the studio, like from then on, that's just my favourite part of the movie. Like just Murray's speech, which just feels very genuine.
I reckon that's massively ad-libbed.
I know there is some ad-libbing at the end. I know like there's a bit where he like quotes Little Shop of Horrors and stuff that wasn't in the script, but I'm assuming a lot of that might have just been like either going off script or just getting bullet points, because it just feels really genuine, and he sounds like he's just rambling.
Yeah. It's really well acted. Really well acted, or really genuinely like done and stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it always like every time if I'm in the right mood, I'll get a bit of a lump in my throat for the last 5 minutes. It's like, especially when that kid speaks as well.
Yeah. It says like, what does he say? Bless us or something like that.
Yeah, bless us, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. So yeah, but that just every time like.
It doesn't cry.
Yeah.
Just open my eyes. What about I should probably talk about the really dark joke in the restaurant scene when he...
Oh, the Richard Pryor shit, yeah.
And he just douses the waiter with water.
Because he's on fire and he's like, I'm sorry, I thought you were Richard Pryor. Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that always gets us. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they knew each other. I'm sure you like would have known Pryor, thought would have been okay with it, but yeah.
Again, one of them jokes that I think like some people now watching that film, that joke would just go right over their head.
Probably. Yeah. I love his pratfall afterwards, though. That was apparently a total accident because the floor was wet, and it's like that cracks us up every time. It's such a good fall.
Yeah, the waiter, you can see in his face, he's like, "What the fuck?"
I love a good pratfall.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, really good role for Murray.
It is
overall.
Yeah. I guess there's any criticisms have already went over, right? So
the only thing that I would say is just that overall the movie does have a bit of a strange feel about it. Every now and then I feel like it's a bit like choppy, like there's an aimlessness from it. I don't know, it's hard to explain really. I just feel like it has a bit of a zaniness about it, which might not have been intended. I feel like there was some, like we kind of touched on, maybe it's the scenes that were kind of cut out or re-edited.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, do you mean like a tone shift now and then, or?
Yeah, it just feels like there's something not quite, and it's not like a hard criticism of it, but just like an observation that I can feel that like some people would have watched this film at the time and went, I'm not really sure I like that film. Don't know why. There's just something about the pacing of it and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. I've never really got that impression from it. But then again, it's fucking hard for me sometimes, and I'm sure you're the same with some movies. Like, it's hard to look at them completely objectively when you've seen them so many times.
Well, that's it. I really would have to like tear myself away from the nostalgia and stuff, and like trying to look at it with cold eyes. Like, I just have a sense of like it has a strange pace about it, but then again, like I love the movie a bit as well at the same time, so it is kind of hard. I can't remember. How was it received? I didn't really look at the time. Like, was it well received?
I'll check, but like from my memory, like it seemed like a big movie at the time. But let's have a look at box office and all that jazz.
I know it was Bill Murray's like kind of return to movies, wasn't it, after Ghostbusters and stuff? I think he took like hiatus from.
I was going to say it's 4 years gap. So I'm trying to think what have come between them. Well, it was a big hit. Cost 32 million, made 100 million. So yeah, it was a big hit.
There you go. Yeah. Like I said at the start of the review, like it's kind of a massive gamble really for them at the time, like doing a Christmas Carol, but like doing it as a comedy movie. That's a bit of a black comedy at the same time.
Yeah.
How would it have gone down? Would it have worked? And stuff. And also like Bill Murray doing another ghost movie.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah, which apparently was like massively used in the marketing for this movie. I think that this tagline on some of the posters was like, Murray is back with the ghosts, only this time it's 3 versus 1 or something.
I thought it was going to be something lame, like, this time he is afraid of ghosts.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, no, interesting that they just like had him. And then obviously his film after this was Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
So he did like 3 back-to-back ghost movies.
Well, speaking of which, something I always forget about, even though, like, you know, considering the years that came out, it's pretty obvious, but this was Donna's follow-up to Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, like mad.
Such a crazy... That's what I mean. The guy's just, like, slipping them into any genre. Slip him into porn, he'd make the best porn ever.
Yeah.
show.
But yeah, as for Blu-ray, it just had a 4K release last month for its 35th anniversary.
It looks nice, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Looks nice. The start of the movie, like, I don't know what did you watch the DVD or did you watch?
No, I watched it. Sadly, I watched it on Prime, and Prime was doing that thing it does now and then, where it'll be like, this shot is in HD, cut to the next shot, 240p on YouTube, and I'm like, what
loading?
But it does it between shots. It looks like
annoying.
certain shots are in 240p, and it did that to the entire movie, and I was like, fuck. I'm glad I've seen this 85 times.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, the version that I watched, the Blu-ray version, like the very start of the movie where it's like just black around Bill Murray. He's like silhouette. It's in the boardroom or something. I just thought, fuck me, he looks HD as fuck.
Looks like he's in the room.
Yeah. Like, I can see every like pore and stuff on his skin and things. It's like, Christ almighty, he looks so pin sharp. Like crazy.
But yeah, like, as well as featurettes and stuff from older releases, the 4K seems to have exclusively a commentary from Richard Donner. So, and I couldn't find it on any other release. So I'm assuming it was recorded not long before he passed away. Maybe it's for this, like, the 4K release, because he died in 2021.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe
I was going to say it's quite recent, that, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the latest release anyway. 4K 35th anniversary release that just came out like a couple of weeks ago. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely got to be. It's got to be on everyone's lineup for, like, if they're watching a bunch of Christmas films.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I mean, there'll be people like that are younger that would never have seen it, but might not have. I don't know. Would you recommend this to someone who's like 16 who'd never seen a Christmas Carol, any version of a Christmas Carol?
Could be tough, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I said, you've got some jokes that might go over people's heads.
That's true.
Like Richard Pryor stuff and that.
Yeah.
But I still think, though, because I think some of the themes are still very relevant.
Yeah, and a lot of the humor would still land.
Yeah.
Like, there's, not like, discounting, like, certain cultural references at the time aside. Like, a lot of the humor's still just there. It's still funny.
Yeah. And like I said, the satirical look of, like, like corporations trying to take over Christmas and stuff.
Yeah,
and change it to their narrative and shit.
Trying to staple antlers to a mouse's head.
You tried staplers.
The bit that always gets me at the end is when he was like, I told that guy to staple antlers to a mouse's head, and it just cuts to the guy miming it to his face.
Yeah. He's like still really shocked by it.
Yeah. So what about merch and art and stuff? Not a lot. Weirdly.
Not a lot at all. In fact, I could only really find one print worthy of mention by Adam Rabelais. I hope I got his name right. It's really, really nice. I love the, like, I don't know, warm traditional feel about it.
It does have a nice feel to it, yeah.
Yeah, really cool piece of art. So I like it. But sadly, I couldn't really find much else about it. I do think the posters are very, like, synonymous with the movie. Like we talked about before we started recording, like, depending on the UK box art or the American poster, whichever one you're familiar with. Very, very simple, just Bill Murray's face, basically.
Yeah, that's all you need. He was just at one of those. He was at that level, wasn't he, where he just put his face on the poster? Yeah.
Interesting though, actually, as well. Just worth mentioning that, like, probably like one of Bill Murray's early or first movie where it's just him kind of as the leading man, like, rather than being an ensemble.
Yeah, thinking about it, like, I just, when it came out, I was like, that's Bill Murray. Yeah, thinking about it, he was kind of still making his way as a movie star at this point.
Yeah,
he's done like Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, like, what's the is it Meatballs and Stripes and stuff like that?
Yeah. So yeah, he was always like supported by other actors alongside him and stuff. So yeah, just a film where he was carrying the can, basically.
Yeah, because then, like, after this, it was Ghostbusters 2, like another ensemble. Then what about Bob, Groundhog Day, movies like that? So,
yeah. But yeah, no other art worth mentioning that I've seen.
That's a shame.
And obviously no action figures. Somebody should do action figures with his little turtleneck and stuff. I'd be up for that. When he was 17, apparently. And no video games, obviously. Because how could you do a video game with Scrooged, I guess?
Yeah. Good point. It's weirdly less likely than a bullet in the head video game.
Well, you never know. I mean, Christ, we've got some fucking weird video games during the NES.
Well,
era, so why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dirty Harry on the NES.
What?
Stuff.
There was a Dirty Harry game on the NES?
It was,
me.
yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, there was pretty much a game for everything on the NES, though. That's why I always crack the joke. Like, it wasn't even a NES game. 'Cause they just went through this period of, like, everything's a game.
I just always assume, like, all those games came out on, like, the Spectrum in the Commodore 64, which I'm sure there was a lot of those as well.
Yeah. No, they're doing it on the NES. I think one of my favourite games on the NES, just pure comedic reasons, is Hunt for Red October.
Oh, yeah, it's like, how is that a game?
Like,
whose dad is buying that?
Yeah, exactly. No kids going like, oh, Dad, can I get Hunt for Red October?
Yeah, do you know what I saw recently that fucking annoyed me? Because this is a term we've been using for like 20 years. It was some article like, there's a new genre that's been created by today's youth called a dad thriller. And I'm like, no, we created that when we were like 12. When we're going, it's a dad film.
Such a dad film.
Yeah. Basically, any John Wayne film, any Sean Connery movie that's not a Bond movie.
Like, I would easily put Gladiator in that category.
Yeah, weirdly.
It's a bit of a dad film.
One of the more recent, very specific dad films. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a dad film for a more modern age.
And just think when there's kids now that are like calling like probably John Wick a dad film.
Yeah, quite possibly.
It just keeps evolving.
Yeah, like Iron Man 1 and stuff.
Yeah.
Like somebody at work was like, I loved Iron Man when I was a kid. And I was like, made us feel really old.
Just bury us, mate, why don't you? So yeah, that's it for this week. And next week, trading places and planes, trains and automobiles for a little festive dub. And we know planes, trains is Thanksgiving, but we're British and we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. We always watch
turkeys in it.
We watch it at Christmas, so I can deal with it. So yeah, you can find us on social media, Instagram mainly at The Chris and Chris Show. You can email us at thechrisandchrisShow@gmail.com. If you like the show, go give us a star rating and review on your favourite podcast platform, and that's that.
Yeah.
So until next week, with a bit of Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Steve Martin, John Candy antics, I will see you doing the pit.
See you in the heat ball.
Heat ball.
Chris and Chris Show.